In the realm of ultimate predators, animals either resist to escape or accept their final fate. But some have learned the lessons of survival. Could they stand against the mightiest? Kruger. A land of dust, crimson earth, and the ancient code. Sun-scorched savannas surge with life in every rhythmic breath of the pride. Yet royalty only answers to one name: Lion. Golden specters hidden within the parched grass. They do not merely seek, they fulfill destiny. Lions in Kruger are not the most efficient rivals. Their success rates fluctuate between 19 and 54%, depending on terrain, timing, and pride size. This means for every 2 patient waits, one ends back at square one. But when a lion succeeds, the outcome is absolute and final. That is what unfolded one March morning in the low scrub west of the dry creek. In this realm, slightly away, is the thin line between existence and its conclusion. The troops' response was swift, but the lioness completed her task in under 3 seconds. In this kingdom, not fast enough and too slow are cut from the same cloth. As the day's successful hunter brings home the prize, the entire pride seeks out a small portion for themselves. The baboon troop did not disperse afterward. They gathered, stood firm, and watched. Not out of paralysis, but something far more complex. It is as if they are recording the moment, as if they are analyzing what just transpired and the reasons behind it. A solitary baboon, no matter how swift, strong, or bright, remains vulnerable within the reach of a lone lioness. And from that moment, they hit the books of survival. To understand the Chakma baboon, one must first place them correctly on the map. Chakmas live across southern Africa. The Kruger Plains in South Africa, the grasslands of Botswana, and the rocky terrain of Namibia. In those environments, they aren't just background players. They are the heart of an entire ecological network. Adult males can reach 45 kilograms. Females weigh about 14 to 16 kilograms. In a world where threats emerge from all sides, the male needs to be large enough to stand his ground. He must be fast enough to move and sharp enough to know his next move. A Chakma's canines measure up to 5 centimeters. A lioness has 8-centimeter fangs, yet a lion is 4 times heavier. Pound for pound, the chacma carries gear nearly as formidable as Africa's largest cat. This isn't just a standard tool for protection, it's a signal, sent to rivals outside and challengers within the troop. By day, the troop roams and forages across a territory spanning 40 square kilometers. Every individual carries an internal map, the location of water, areas of concern, and cliffs to scale when needed. The troop is the sum of those maps, a shared intelligence, living not in one individual, but in the space between them all. As the sun begins its descent, they retreat to the kranzes. That is their fortress. Chacmas live in groups of 20 to 80 individuals. Within that circle, everyone has a place, and that position, as we shall see, settles everything. Who eats first, who sleeps in peace, and who will see more tomorrows. The encounter with the lioness was a lesson. Some members dropped the ball and couldn't signal the group in time. But what do they learn after such an event? First, they must figure out where the lion is before the lion arrives. And to do that in this thick savanna, one's own eyes simply won't cut the mustard. There is something in this expanse that baboons haven't fully utilized. Other creatures, not allies, but sources of information. And the next lesson will come from entirely different species, sharing the very same unease. Giraffes are mobile observation towers. Their eyes sit nearly 6 meters above the ground, a rare privilege. From there, their sight stretches beyond 500 meters of brush and tall grass. When a giraffe stops feeding and turns its head in one direction, the entire surrounding ecosystem takes notice. Impalas operate on a different set of rules. They do not look far, but their ears and noses catch what the eyes miss. Impalas can sense a shift in the wind in less than 1 second. They detect the scent of large cats from distances humans cannot imagine. And the impala's alarm call carries more than one frequency. Impalas distinguish a baboon's alarm for ground-dwelling hunters from other sounds baboons make. And they are the most responsive and consistent antelope to baboon signals. The reason is simple. Both species are vulnerable to lions and leopards. Familiarity breeds trust, and trust in this kingdom sustains life. Baboon troops gradually act as the savanna's most sensitive early warning radar, for other species and for their own kind. Their lookout tactics rely on strategic positioning. While most of the troop is busy foraging, the most watchful individuals occupy high rocky outcrops or tree branches to serve as sentries. With just a slight mane movement or a glimpse of a stalking lion, the baboons immediately unleash sharp, rapid barks. These sounds signal the end for the hunter's ambush plans. Lions take particular issue with this barking, as it strips away their most potent tool, the element of surprise. Down within the waterbed, the massive buffalo herds are the loyal audience for this radar system. The buffalo respond with an incredible defensive discipline. Driven by instinct, they establish a pincer formation or a protective circle. By picking up the signals from the baboons, the herd has enough time to transition from a passive state to a ready stance, turning themselves from potential targets into an impenetrable fortress. But the network has its limits. When night falls, when the group scatters for rest, and when no impala or giraffe is on the lookout nearby, the protection of this network fades away. And that is when the second figure makes its entrance. The thing that leaves the savannah most unsettled is not something you can easily see. The leopard views baboons as noisy and bothersome targets. This hunter is just as cunning and clever as the baboons themselves, even more formidable. The leopard operates in complete darkness, using hearing, scent, and sight, moving in silence rather than with audible steps. That means even the safest haven can become a snare within the shadows. It is the same during the day. A strike occurs right at high noon. The baboons are on the move. The males lead the way, while the females and young ones stay in the middle. The leopard has spotted them. It makes a move on a female in the center. An easy success, but the troop refuses to let it leave. The predator is forced to reach a compromise. The leopard lets go of its prize, but it is already too late. While the troop is still unsettled, the hunter shifts its focus toward a young one. The mother finds her little one. She holds that small piece of heartache close. Chakma mothers carry their lost infants for anywhere from less than 1 hour to 10 days. On average, it is 3 to 4 days. It is not that they do not realize their young has passed. Their behavior during this time suggests quite the opposite. Rather, something within the primate nervous system cannot let go immediately, even when the mind has recognized the loss. Males with close ties to the grieving mother stand by, keeping others at a distance, occasionally grooming the tiny form. Sorrow is not something the mother faces alone. This is the other side of solidarity. Troop unity is a weapon, but its cost is real and unavoidable. Every time the troop stands its ground against a foe, every time a member is lost despite doing everything right, that is a cost no escape can erase. And the troop carries that weight, not as an abstract memory, but as a change in behavior for days to come. More cautious, staying closer, and paying special attention to the young ones. The third figure arrives with a completely different kind of challenge. Not the power and size of the lion, not the shadow and silence of the leopard, but a coordinated intelligence, something even baboons must learn to counter with a strategy they have never tried before, which can feel like an uphill battle. African wild dogs do not seek out their targets in packs in the simplest sense. They coordinate, they communicate while on the move, switching roles, isolating the target, and predicting the path instead of simply chasing. Their success rates are widely reported at 80% by some estimates, the highest among the large African seekers. However, that 80% figure reflects the effectiveness of the entire group. The actual rate for each individual in the pack, according to research in Okavango, is only about 15%. The advantage for the wild dogs is not found in individual brilliance. Instead, It is the entire pack operating as a single unit, ensuring everyone is on the same page. 10 wild dogs organize a pursuit in a crescent shape. It is not a full enclosure. They always leave one way open, the direction the target would usually choose to run. It is a geographic snare created by the coordination of 10 individuals. But the baboon troop does not flee. The largest male in the troop, not the leader, but a mature, older male with markings from past disagreements, steps forward. The distance closes, eyes remain locked, and in the next 3 seconds, the lead dog makes a quick exit. When a baboon targets the leader instead of running, the dog's entire coordinated effort depends on a factor that is no longer playing by the rules. Not every encounter requires a victory through physical strength. Sometimes it is enough to make the interaction not worth the effort for the one approaching. But it is not yet finished, not truly put to the test, until the first challenger returns. The lion pride finds them from the east in the late afternoon, not just one this time, but 4 of them. This time, there is no room to rely on a single reaction. The giraffes to the north stopped feeding and turned their gaze toward the east 6 minutes ago. The baboons interpret that cue. The troop gathers before the lions even come into view. This group and their alarm calls are a constant source of frustration for the pride. The lioness is looking for a window of opportunity or a more vulnerable individual. Her resolve is plain to see. The buffalo herd reacts without delay. They form a pincer-like formation to shelter the young ones. With their superior numbers, the buffalo are the ones who hold all the cards. The lioness is forced to step back. She turns toward the baboon troop with a piercing gaze. The lead baboon is prepared for this moment alongside his companions. The lion comes to a halt. The situation has shifted. The lion faces a group in formation, aided by early warnings and at least 3 males ready to stand firm rather than flee. The risk of harm to the seeker is simply too high compared to the chance of success. The lion retreats. The greatest learners are those who thrive in the most demanding landscapes and remain whole enough to keep growing. Chakma baboons know how to handle lions, leopards, and wild dogs. They know the territory of the savanna. They know how to stand as one. Yet the most formidable adversary, the only opponent that never backs down and refuses to accept an unfavorable outcome, never emerges from outside the troop. Inside the troop, structure isn't born from disarray. It was established well before any current resident took their first breath. For the female chakmas, this order involves a system so refined it seems almost unbelievable it is handed down. The social ladder is straightforward and steady. If you were to organize every female from top to bottom, the sequence remains clear. There is no lingering uncertainty. Heated disagreements between those of similar standing are rare. as their positions have been solidified through generations and are anchored by a web of connections. A daughter inherits the spot directly beneath her mother, not at the base of the group, and not through contest, right below her mother. If a mother holds the third spot in a group of 15 females, the daughter steps into the fourth position as soon as she finds her social footing. This means status is passed on like an heirloom, not through biology, but through the social world they are born into. Grooming, caring for one another's coats, serves as the currency of this system. It is not about cleanliness. It is about capital. Those further down the ladder provide grooming to those above, an essential part of social life that cannot be set aside without fallout. In exchange, this practice builds strong bonds. When a female is challenged, not by an outsider but by a peer, those she has groomed often step in to support her. This partnership is less about affection and more about a social policy paid for in advance with time and effort. As a result, those at the top enjoy first access to limited nourishment. They drink first at the water. They claim the prime resting spots on the cliffs. Most crucially for their well-being, their young are looked after even in the mother's absence, as her connections form a quiet shield around her offspring. Yet, this framework comes with a cost. Those lower in the standings live under constant pressure, not through overt force, but through the invisible weight of the rules. Before reaching for food, they cautiously scan their surroundings. When passing near a high-ranking female, they automatically show a yielding posture. Their levels of cortisol, the tension hormone, are notably higher than those above them, even when things are peaceful. This is not a passing worry. It is a lasting state sustained by a social architecture that no one has to actively enforce, because the system has become a reflex, kept alive by each individual knowing exactly where they fit in. This level of coordination shows they are firing on all cylinders. And when the troop has plenty of food, water, and room to roam, the divide remains. Not because anyone insists on it, but because it has simply become the way the world works for every single baboon in that group. Researchers observe a behavior in Chakma groups called infant handling. And once the full picture is clear, the term handling feels far too gentle. Older, high-ranking females view the offspring of younger, lower-status mothers as something between a possession and a social asset. They move in, insisting on holding the infant. The mother of lower standing has no way to decline without facing the weight of the alliances backing that senior female. This isn't about curiosity or a caring instinct. It is a display of influence carried out through the young. This is a signature of the chakma, seen time and again in fieldwork in Botswana and South Africa. Not every baboon species exhibits this behavior with such intensity. Social standing is pressed upon the next generation, ensuring nothing in this group truly belongs to those further down the ladder. Forceful behavior is learned within the troop. High-ranking youngsters push around lower-status juveniles, not because they are provoked, but because it is what they see every day. The mother of the lower-ranking juvenile doesn't step in, as that would bring pressure from the parent of the high-ranking one. The structure preserves itself through many tiers, where each member acts out the logic of those who call the shots. This builds a unique way of learning. Young chakmas don't learn about authority from facing a lion or a leopard. They learn about it through troop dynamics, from their peers, and from how the adults react or remain silent when boundaries are crossed. The little ones of lower status are often left to their own devices. Sometimes the mother is simply too occupied trying to work her way up the social ladder. This young one has wandered off. Entering the range of a young male leopard, the little one is spotted. The seeker is in a playful mood. The baby baboon isn't a primary focus for nourishment. The seeker simply wants to toy with someone who is feeling a bit out of their element. But the seeker was mistaken. The lone boy finds his strength and manages to hold his own while finding a way to safety. Not every male in the troop holds the top position, and not every male tries to reach that peak. A significant portion of adult chakma males choose a completely different path, and that path offers its own unique rewards. Subordinate males build connections with specific females in the group. It is not strictly about mating. It is about a true bond, regular grooming, staying close during travels, and looking out for one another when facing a challenge from others. This relationship is remarkably steady, lasting through many seasons, even when the female is not in her fertile phase, even without immediate gains. Females with strong social ties tend to live longer, show lower stress levels under pressure, and their young have a higher chance of thriving. This is not because they are biologically superior. Rather, a social alliance serves as a parallel safety net, remaining effective even as physical strength begins to fade. For the males, data from extensive studies on social bonds and longevity in wild baboons show males with strong ties to females reduce their risk of loss of life by 28% compared to those with weak bonds. This is the first evidence in non-human primates confirming a direct link between the strength of social connections and the survival rates of males. It is not about raw strength. It is not about standing. It is about who is standing with you. Yet, these subordinate males are not without their own quiet drive. When the timing is right, when the lead male begins to falter, or when a new group arrives to stir the pot, an alliance between 2 or 3 older males can turn the entire structure upside down. This does not happen through long-lasting struggle, but through a brief and decisive coordinated engagement, where all sides understand who will come out on top before things even get started. Afterward, there is a quiet shift. One member of the alliance takes the lead, while the others remain in support. Influence in this world is not something one individual holds on to forever. It is negotiated, temporary, and depends entirely on who stands beside you when the moment of truth arrives. When the Chakma Alpha moves through the group, the atmosphere shifts before he even arrives. The hair on his neck and shoulders stands tall, creating a silhouette that looks larger than life. His stride is measured and slow, not for lack of speed, but because moving with leisure is the right of those who never need to rush. 2 or 3 times a day, he lets out a wide yawn, displaying canines that measure 5 centimeters in the daylight. The leader does not maintain order through constant physical force. That would be a drain on his energy and lead to unnecessary harm. He guides by his very presence, because the entire group has embraced the hierarchy so deeply that it functions on its own. Younger males clear a path for the leader before they are even told to move. Females shift their resting spots as he draws near. The social structure is not something forced from the top every day. It is something rebuilt from below by every individual knowing their place, every single morning, without a word spoken. But there is one moment during the day when no routine can take the place of the real thing, when fresh nourishment appears. The impala is usually a neighbor, but this relationship is not set in stone. A clever creature like the baboon can become unpredictable when it needs to demonstrate its standing. A mother impala has recently brought new life into the world. She is in a delicate state following the birth. Meanwhile, the male baboon is becoming more assertive than ever. He senses his position is being questioned by other males. He feels the need for protein right away. During its first weeks, the young impala is simply a quiet observer, waiting for its mother to finish grazing so it can nurse. But the rainy season brings lush green grass. This makes them stand out to those seeking a meal. The baboon makes its move. The little one is unable to hold its own, In a somber turn of events, neither can the mother. He dines alone. The other males, even those large enough to challenge the leader under different circumstances, remain several meters away. This nourishment is more than just a meal. It is the most silent and effective display of standing a leader can provide. No force is required, no display of teeth is needed. Just sitting and eating while 30 others wait. And that sequence is noted, remembered, and mirrored in every small choice made for the rest of the day. In an unstable ranking system, where challenges arise often, where partnerships shift, and where the top spot is constantly under fire, the leader actually carries higher stress levels than the one right below him. The weight of holding the peak, when that peak is constantly being pushed from within and from outside the group, creates a physical burden greater than anything the second in command faces. This build-up of tension needs an outlet. Not by moving against the second in command. That would be too costly and might bring in other allies. Instead, a less precarious path is chosen. The females of lower standing. This is what is known as redirected frustration. Those who engage in this behavior show lower tension levels than those of equal rank who do not. This isn't just a brief lapse in composure. This behavior from the largest male is directed towards certain females more than at any other time. And the long-term results show those who are more assertive have a higher chance of success with those females in the future. The Chakma leader isn't simply the strongest in a basic sense. He is a point where contradictions meet. Enough standing to dine alone when food is found, but enough stress to lead to unsettled behavior. He has a presence that causes the troop to adjust around him, but a tenure short enough to keep him always on watch. He has the ability to shield the group from outside threats, but is also the source of the constant weight those at the bottom feel every day. Being at the top of this ladder is not a safe haven, it is the most solitary position in the group. And the Chakma leader does not stay king of the hill for long. A typical term of leadership lasts 6 to 12 months, after which a new arrival from another group or a partnership of older males within the troop will shift the balance. In cases like these, a spirited struggle is unavoidable. However, the wise former leaders often find a way to thrive by becoming respected elders in the group. Those who find themselves sidelined due to age or injuries from the contest for the top may find themselves on the edges of social life. The end of the journey is natural, and those who look for a meal will not miss the chance for an easy find as the cycle of life continues to run its course. Evening fades slowly over Botswana. The baboon troop begins ascending the kranzes, returning to their nightly stronghold in an order that requires no announcement. The leader goes first, then the second in command. Then the females follow by rank, each knowing her place as if it were second nature, then the juveniles. Finally, the subordinates bring up the rear, casting one last look over the plains before climbing and vanishing into the shadows of the stone. That very morning, this same group stood their ground against a leopard in the dark and formed a line before 4 lions. This same group interpreted the silent cues of giraffes from 500 meters away, allowing a herd of antelope a close call they never even realized they had. This same group knew how to disrupt the strategy of the wild dogs by focusing on their leader instead of fleeing. That afternoon, this same group maintained a system where lower status mothers could not say no when their little ones were handled. This same group watched as their leader dined alone while 29 others waited. This same group carries lasting tension within the bodies of those at the bottom, not because of anyone's choice, but because it is part and parcel of how their society functions. There is no contradiction here, for these are not 2 stories of 2 different troops. This is a single narrative of what collective wisdom builds when tasked with staying secure and living together in a realm that offers no simple paths. The kranzes tower high in the fading light. The troop ascends and fades into the rock. Tomorrow, the learning cycle begins anew. This kingdom is not for the strongest. It is for the most perceptive, and those brave enough to stick together when things are at their darkest. Lion, cheetah, leopard. Facing these hunters, the baboon can hold its own, push back, or at least find an exit. The crocodile does not provide the baboon with that opening. If the secret is revealed, the pursuit usually falls short, as the baboon is remarkably agile on solid ground. At Tsavo West, where water is the heart of existence, the Nile crocodile reigns over this domain. In those brief moments of drinking, attention is softened, and that is all a seeker requires. The pressure from a crocodile's grip is the most potent in the natural world. The only reason this yellow baboon remains in the picture is because of the seeker's modest size. The troop remains nearby, for as long as there is life, there is hope. It will be a while before it feels steady enough to return to this bank. But the dynamic between the baboon and the crocodile is not always a one-way street. There is a time of year when the tables are turned. From July to September in East Africa, the female places 40 to 80 eggs within and remains on watch throughout the 80 to 90 days of waiting. The mother crocodile goes without nourishment for that entire span, losing up to 30% of her body weight. This is the single phase of her life where she is no longer the flawless master of concealment. She is anchored to a specific spot. The baboons are well aware of this season. The rate of achievement for such maneuvers is as high as 75%. Yet the baboons cannot always keep their distance from the shore. During the dry months, the troops must travel to find new sources. Sometimes that means they must cross the river. The journey through the water is the most precarious moment, and despite every careful step, incidents still occur. The encounter takes place before the baboon's mind can even register the shift in the environment. If the crocodile takes advantage of the environment's weaknesses, the African rock python looks for something even more unsettling. The blind spot. This python is a master of keeping a low profile. It waits for the baboons to come its way. No scent, no sound, not a single movement. The baboon lacks a way to detect a creature that remains completely still. The python is highly attuned to vibrations and scents to notice a troop drawing near. When a young one or a female enters the zone, the python lunges forward with incredible speed. This hold carries no toxins, but it grips firmly and offers no way to find an exit. Studies show the python can feel the pulse through its scales, and it tightens its hold with every heartbeat until the rhythm fades away. The intense pressure brings a loss of awareness far quicker than a simple loss of breath. There is no way for anyone to step in and help. Unlike the crocodile with its known boundaries, the rock python has no set area of concern. It could appear out of thin air. No signs of what is to come, no way to persevere once the embrace has come full circle. This principle goes without saying far beyond the borders of Africa, reaching into every wild kingdom across the globe. Within the Amazon, the boa constrictor blends seamlessly with the tree bark and fallen leaves, thanks to the intricate patterns on its scales. A howler monkey has found itself in an unfortunate situation. It can sense every subtle pulse of its counterpart through its own scales, fine-tuning its embrace with remarkable precision. This firm pressure brings about a quiet halt to the natural flow of life. The howler monkey loses awareness and slips away in the blink of an eye. Here, amidst the vibrant green canopy, the final chapter arrives as a moment of absolute stillness. Compared to the clever and powerful baboon, the vervet monkey navigates a much more demanding reality. In the domain of the seekers, a modest size is never an advantage. It only makes the list of those looking to put you on the menu longer and more persistent. For the vervet monkey, the list of challenges ranges from agile cats and shadows in the sky like the crowned eagle to even the assertive baboons themselves. In an environment where things can go wrong from any direction, this primate has had to build a strong defensive framework. The vervet monkey has a clear and refined system of calls. This tactical information must be spot on. A unique call for the leopard, a hiss for a snake, and an alarm for the eagle. Young vervets must go through a process of learning to get a handle on this system. If a newcomer makes a mistake or gives a false signal, the adults will give them the cold shoulder. Learning to speak the right language of life is essential. In this place, knowledge is the thin line between a quiet day and a somber turn of events. As the reptiles pull back into the shadows, the savannah greets the return of a master of craft. The leopard's sense of smell is so keen that it can isolate the distinct sense of primates from the thousands of other aromas drifting through the deep woods. It functions like a natural sensor, tracing the subtle paths the monkey troop leaves behind on the high limbs. Stay perfectly still. Just absolute immobility. This is a high-stakes psychological game played between the seeker and its target. If the primate's stillness is profound enough, it can bypass even the sharpest instincts of the leopard. Without a single movement to go on, the seeker begins to second-guess its own perceptions and eventually decides to call it a day. Job well done. But there are times when silence and the highest limbs are not the perfect sanctuary. This eagle is more than just a seeker on the wing. It is a formidable force of nature and the greatest challenge a primate troop will ever face. The crowned eagle possesses extraordinary vision, capable of spotting the slightest movement from over 3 kilometers away. To them, the leafy canopy is not a place for concealment, but a detailed map. Every vervet monkey appears as a clearly noted focal point, showing that the eagle is truly on the ball. And as the shadow from above arrives, its ultimate capability is set in motion. The outcome for the chosen one is often decided from the very first contact. For the eagle, primates represent a premium source of nourishment. These primates are not just a casual meal, but a key factor in the survival of the entire species. However, the eagle is highly selective. It does not make a move without a clear plan. They focus on the less prepared individuals, ensuring that only the most resilient and aware members pass on their legacy while keeping their eye on the prize. In response, primates have developed a remarkably intricate language, with each unique sound reserved for a specific type of seeker to ensure they stay ahead of the game. Peru, Manu National Park. Within the winding maze of the dense Amazon canopy, an ancient presence silently reigns, leaving every primate feeling a bit on edge at the mere sound of its wings. The harpy eagle possesses talons that reach across 18 centimeters. With 14 primate species living here, it serves as the final arbiter of their journey. At a height of 30 meters, the monkeys, capuchins, marmosets, and tamarins remain highly watchful. For the harpy, the outcome for the target is decided by its gaze alone. This seeker is clearly at the top of its game, where focus meets absolute efficiency. When an individual is brought back to the nest, it vanishes completely as the seeker takes its fill. The harpy eagle leaves nothing to waste. Keep a sharp lookout for the harpy, because once its shadow falls, any hope of finding an escape is merely an illusion. Crossing the ocean, from the dense forests of the Amazon, we make our way to the misty peaks of the Philippines. The Philippine eagle, the largest eagle in the world, and as a rare sight on the wing, it is truly one in a million. It is estimated that only about 392 breeding pairs remain in the wild. Its most significant focus is the Philippine flying lemur, the closest living relative to primates. Though they resemble flying squirrels, these creatures possess a much more developed membrane. When unfurled, they look like a massive square kite. This natural glider can soar for a distance of more than 100 meters. For an eagle facing a critically vulnerable status, a flying lemur weighing 1 kilogram is a strategic source of energy for raising chicks. Here, amidst the thick canopy of the Philippines, the seeker and the target, every link in the chain is equally vital. Even smaller than the flying lemurs, the bush baby looks like a curious blend of a squirrel, a cat, and a tiny visitor from another world. For a little one that is clearly on the small side, every patch of darkness could be a potential final resting place. The genet is one of the few tree-dwelling experts nimble enough to challenge the masters of the canopy. Its long tail serves as a high-precision balance beam, allowing it to navigate the branches like a tightrope walker. Yet, even for a seasoned seeker, the savanna offers no guarantees. By releasing the energy stored in specialized tendons, it pulls out all the stops to perform a leap 30 times its body length. In this woodland, the smallest participants often hold the biggest surprises. But within the shadows of the thick forest canopy, there is another seeker that doesn't rely on pure speed or random luck. Meet the chimpanzee, not only a close relative, but also an incredibly brilliant seeker. These chimpanzees don't engage in a pursuit. Instead, they conduct their search with an impressive level of patience. Occasionally, they tap softly against the trunk, listening for the slightest vibrations from within. A careful check to see if anyone is home. Once a target has been locked, the process begins with a tool that many might find surprising: the height of primate ingenuity. While the mature males often prefer to show off their strength by pursuing larger finds on the ground, it is actually the females and the young ones who are ahead of the curve with this particular technology. This is a clever way to gather essential nourishment without spending too much energy, as they have this method down to a science. As twilight descends over the Kruger savanna, it bathes the landscape in a deep, glowing crimson hue. This is far from a moment of stillness. This is the hour of the seeker. The earth hums with subtle rhythms, a quiet anticipation for what is about to unfold. Tension coils through the air like an unspoken warning. With just a single breath, the silence is cast aside. This responsibility, as it often does, falls to the lionesses. They are leaner, quicker, and operate as highly efficient specialists guided by collective wisdom. Each individual is a vital link in a seamless strategy. A symphony of intensity and precision. But as night settles in, the ancient order is restored. The lead male lion, who has been watching from a distance, now approaches with a roar that signals his presence. He does not join the pursuit, yet he is the first to take part in the meal. It is the law of the savannah. A code defined by strength. The gathering has only just begun, yet it has already drawn unwanted attention. The signal is picked up by the spotted hyenas, led by a matriarch, a leader with a grip strong enough to process bone. These creatures are more than just opportunistic onlookers. They are effective seekers and determined strategists who never shy away from a challenge. With just one call, the pack gathers, a group of organized energy. They head straight for the lions gathering. This is a classic encounter in Kruger, a dynamic that has played out for ages. The sheer power of the lion versus the steady numbers of the hyenas. The scent of the find rises, blending with the focus of instinct and awareness. The air feels heavy, filled with low tones and piercing sounds. The savannah awakens in a storm of roars. Howls and the sounds of a feast. This is no longer a pursuit. This is a contest for ownership. And while the two giants stand their ground on the earth, the true opportunists begin to make their move from above. From the sky, the sharpest eyes on the savannah have joined the scene. The spiraling flight of the white-backed vultures is more than just curiosity. It is a signal, a living marker in the sky, an open invitation to all who can interpret the language of the heavens. Just 100 vultures can finish an antelope weighing about 45 kilograms in only a few minutes. They are nature's cleanup crew, acting as remarkably efficient caretakers. Within the great cycle of life and its transition, not a single bit is wasted. The engagement of physical strength and seeker instincts settles as the dark fully takes hold. Yet amidst that demanding survival, a different tool has quietly evolved to change the landscape forever. It is not about a powerful grip or sharp talons. It is brilliance, the power of awareness and calculation that goes far beyond basic instinct. We are moving away from the giants of the savannah to explore the most refined minds in the animal kingdom. Those who do not just live to endure, but live to understand and navigate the world around them. Welcome to a journey into the world of the most brilliant primates on the planet, where being observant is the name of the game. In a world driven by instinct and raw power, brilliance is more than just a gift. It is a formidable asset. In the most secluded corners of the earth, the journey of survival is determined not by the reach of a talon, but by the processing power of the mind. Evolution can sometimes feel like a high-stakes gamble, and the great apes have certainly hit the jackpot. With their expansive cognitive capacity and a genetic makeup that is more than 98% identical to our own, they are the true masters of the deep woods. Leading nature's most wanted list are the chimpanzees, the resilient residents of Western and Central Africa. A muscular powerhouse with arms longer than their legs, they create tremendous leverage when traveling or navigating challenges. Their expressive faces and large, forward-leaning ears are not just for display. They are the information hubs for some of the most brilliant seekers to ever roam the earth. Within the dense tropical canopies, chimpanzees have moved beyond being simple climbers to become the strategic engineers of the natural world. We can set aside those dated studies that only focused on them using small twigs to gather termites. New field data from chimpanzee troops in Senegal has thrown a curveball at long-standing scientific beliefs. They have perfected the technique of making spears, handcrafted tools sharpened with their teeth to probe into tree hollows while seeking out the vulnerable bush babies tucked away. This is far from a random instinctive behavior. This is cultural transmission, the systematic passing down of technical traditions. When an adult shows the younger generation how to pick the right branch, strip the leaves, and sharpen the tip, they truly seem to be entering a stone age of their own. In this arena of existence, possessing a mind that can create tools often determines the final outcome for any individual in their sights. Have you ever wondered if thousands of years from now these wooden tools turn into something more substantial? How long our position at the peak of the hierarchy will remain secure? If our chimpanzee cousins have chosen to take up tools to carve their history with blades and spears, then on the other side of the Congo River Basin, a completely different society is functioning under rules that we humans are still trying to grasp. That is the world of the bonobo. When looking at them, you will see an appearance that is much more graceful and slender than their more rugged relatives, who are truly cut from a different cloth. With their signature pink lips and a naturally stylish center-parted hairstyle, bonobos look like artists who have found their way into the heart of the jungle. But do not let that relaxed look mislead you. Their mind is a sophisticated center for emotional intelligence at the highest level. While much of the natural world remains caught in intense physical struggles, the bonobo prefers marching to the beat of their own drum. They resolve disagreements through empathy and refined social bonding. Instead of turning their domain into a place of finality or a field of relentless competition, they transform it into a community of understanding. They do not just react to signs, they truly grasp the abstract meaning behind them. In the demanding journey of evolution, sometimes those who prioritize empathy and peace are the ones holding the ultimate tool to safeguard their legacy. Deep within the dense, old-growth forests of Central Africa, a massive phantom reigns supreme. That is the western lowland gorilla. Take a look at the leader, a silverback male. He's a mountain of solid muscle, weighing nearly 200 kilograms. He possesses the strength to overwhelm an opponent's frame with a single strike. But in this arena of survival, muscle is only secondary. His most remarkable gift lies behind that steady gaze. It is his intellect. He never rushes into the water without a second thought. Facing an unfamiliar swamp, he pauses. He calculates. He picks up a branch and measures the depth of the current. This is not mere instinct. This is abstract reasoning. It is an engineering puzzle in the middle of the marsh. We once mistakenly thought they were just unrefined giants. But Coco changed every misconception. She did more than just learn language. She showed us the profound depths of the soul. Coco understood the finite nature of existence. She knew how to mourn a passing. This species' emotional processing is far more intricate than we ever imagined. In the natural world, strength might help you win a match, but it is intellect that truly holds the fort for your legacy. Higher still, up to the misty peaks of East Africa, where the unyielding cold knows no pity. This is the territory of the mountain gorilla. Observe their coat, black, long and dense, a biological suit of armor to master the frost. But take a closer look at that nose, unique patterns of wrinkles, a natural identification card that cannot be forged. In this demanding world, strength is only half the story. The other half is connection. They operate a sophisticated, multi-layered social structure. Disagreements are a daily occurrence, but their way of resolving them is the pinnacle of evolution. The cooperation among females is a masterpiece of teamwork. Together, they nurture the next generation, turning scarcity into collective power. This social mastery helps the species maintain the highest survival rates even as their home shrinks. In the grand design of nature, the loner will eventually falter. Those who collaborate are the ones who truly call the shots. In the islands of Indonesia, another dynasty is hidden within the highest canopies, orangutan. Neither jet black nor grey, they shine with a signature reddish-orange coat against the vast green. Take a look at those arms. A span reaching 2 meters, an extreme design by nature. Standing upright, their fingertips can touch their very ankles. This is no eccentricity. This is the build of a professional master of the heights. While other primates rely on numbers for safety, the orangutan prefers to go it alone. For them, solitude is not a burden. It is a masterful survival strategy. Females only keep company with their little ones. Adult males weighing up to 90 kilograms spend the vast majority of their lives in stillness. They only come together when the call of family becomes necessary. They are the giants of the canopy, the largest mammals on Earth to call the trees home. 90% of their journey unfolds where a single misstep could lead to the final sunset. Every evening, a fresh bed is crafted out of thin air, skillfully snapping branches and carefully layering leaves. It takes less than 10 minutes for such an engineer to finish a solid nest at the forest's peak. But the true peak of intellect belongs to the Sumatran orangutan. With their bright orange coats and long, narrow faces, they are the true mechanical engineers of the jungle. Dismantling and reassembling complex items, that is simply child's play for them. They even know how to craft protective gloves from leaves to handle the sharpest of thorns. In this world, when physical strength reaches its limit, it is intellect that paves the way for new possibilities. A lesson in adaptation that only the brightest are able to grasp. Crossing the strait, heading into the challenging terrain of Borneo. Here we encounter a more heavy-duty version of the reddish-orange lineage, the Bornean orangutan. Their bodies are heavy, looming like ancient phantoms among the canopies of Malaysia and Indonesia. The adult males possess massive cheek pads, known as phalanges. It is a strategic design. It functions as a biological speaker system, helping vocalizations travel across miles of the thickest jungle to assert authority. But do not let that seemingly slow appearance deceive your eyes. Their true strength does not lie in muscle, but in an elite ability to store data. They possess an incredible long-term memory. While humans sometimes lose track of where they put their keys, these creatures remember the exact fruiting schedules of hundreds of different trees over many years. This is a genuine botanical global positioning system. They plan their movements based on a biological algorithm of fruit ripeness. They know exactly which tree will offer sweet fruit next month, even if it is many kilometers away in the heart of the jungle. In the kingdom of the leaves, information is energy, and the one with the best memory is the one who truly knows the forest like the back of their hand. Venture deep into the isolated highlands of North Sumatra. Welcoming you is the rarest of the rare, a creature that is truly one in a million, the Tapanuli orangutan. They carry a look entirely distinct from the rest of their lineage. Their fur is curlier, their skull is smaller, but don't let that slight frame deceive your eyes. In a world of thick foliage where visibility is often zero, sound is power. They are the true vocalists of the old forest. They possess the longest and most intricate long calls in the primate world, putting them in a league of their own. These are not just empty howls. It is a high-level acoustic information system. Each song is a bulletin warning of a threat, sent with absolute precision. When you cannot see an adversary, you must hear them before they make a move. The Tapanuli has turned its voice into an invisible shield for survival. In this realm, the one who masters the frequency is the one who secures life. While orangutans are solitary phantoms hidden in silence, macaques are the most bustling residents of this planet. Second only to humans in their global reach, they are true settlers found in every nook and cranny, from deep jungles to busy urban centers. Look at those cheeks. They aren't just getting chubby. Those are cheek pouches. a clever evolutionary design. A biological shopping bag to gather nourishment as quickly as possible. Why spend time dining in the open when an unexpected guest could arrive at any moment? Store now, enjoy later in a secure spot. That is how you thrive in a playground for those on the hunt. In contrast to the solitude of the orangutan, macaques are social creatures to the core. But don't be mistaken, this is no chaotic crowd. It is a strict matriarchal society with a firm hierarchy. The females are the pillars of power, guarding the lineage for a lifetime. Influence is secured not just by strength, but through careful grooming, a form of physical diplomacy. Their adaptability is second to none. From the parched cliffs of North Africa to the bustling temples of Asia, the macaque always finds a way to stay on their toes. Long-tailed, short-tailed, or even nearly tailless like the Barbary macaque, they shift their forms to fit every challenging scenario nature presents. Let us fly to the northern reaches of Japan, where the chill can freeze any resolve and turn this land into a silent, snowy expanse. This is the domain of the Japanese macaque. Their appearance is a striking contrast. A face of vibrant crimson peering out from a thick, brownish-grey coat. A perfect biological coat to master the relentless snowstorms. But it is their intellect that makes scientists take their hats off. Here, they have established a rudimentary education system. One individual happened to discover that washing potatoes in the water helps remove sand and adds a touch of saltiness. A simple invention? No. It was the start of a revolution. This behavior does not fade with time. It is taught, copied, and spread throughout the troop. This is precisely cultural transmission, the spreading of culture. A pinnacle of evolutionary social thinking, proving that education is not the exclusive privilege of humans. In the world of the macaque, knowledge is power, and sharing is the key to maintaining a lasting dynasty in the heart of the frost. A lesson in adaptation that even the top hunters must keep an eye on. This intelligence does more than just fill their bellies. It helps them reign. Now, step into the hustle and bustle of South and Southeast Asia. Here, the rhesus macaque rules everywhere from ancient temples to lively city streets. Their appearance is a blend of grayish-brown fur and a striking deep red backside. But don't let that unrefined exterior deceive your eyes. They possess a gift that very few creatures on Earth hold: self-awareness. Stepping into the mirror test, they do not see an unwelcome stranger. They see themselves. Understanding the concept of the individual self, a major milestone of complex intellect. In a world full of blind instincts, knowing who you are is the ultimate survival advantage. A mental foundation that helps them not just endure, but pull the strings of the world around them as they wish. Still in Southeast Asia, but take a look at this smaller silhouette, the pig-tailed macaque. Their name comes from that short, uniquely curled tail that resembles a pig's. An olive gold coat allows them to blend perfectly into the shadows of the tropical canopy. But don't let that somewhat quirky appearance deceive your eyes. They are the natural world's true data analysts. Their ability to categorize is a feat of cognitive skill. Observe how they handle a task requiring conditional selection. Selecting a perfectly ripe coconut from a sea of green fruit. For the pig-tailed macaque, that isn't a matter of luck. It is a biological algorithm. Their speed in processing visual information and making decisions is significantly faster than many other primates. While others are still fumbling with their choices, these creatures have finished the job and are ready for the feast. In this challenging race for survival, the one with the faster analytical mind is the one who stays ahead of the curve. Deep within the dense canopies of Southeast Asia, where shadows linger even at high noon, this is the domain of the siamang, jet black. Mysterious, muscular phantoms gliding through the tree layers. But take a look at their throats, a massive gular sac. When inflated, it resembles a strange biological balloon. It is no design flaw, it is a heavy-duty sound amplifier. In this place, intelligence is not measured by stone tools, but by rhythm. They perform the most sophisticated duets in the natural world. Males and females coordinate with a rhythmic structure that is incredibly precise. This is not improvised music. It is a declaration of territorial sovereignty. Every high note is a sharp notice sent to uninvited visitors. This territory is spoken for. This rhythmic coordination reaches a level of precision that few species can match, helping maintain social order without resorting to physical friction. In the kingdom of leaves, when visibility is obscured, the one who masters sound is the one who truly calls the tune. A cunning strategy of asserting authority through frequency. The mangrove labyrinth of Borneo, where the mud and tides are the ones in charge, meet the proboscis monkey. A fellow with a look that is truly unmistakable, a massive pear-shaped nose, a potbelly and lanky limbs. It is easy to poke fun at his appearance, but nature never wastes genetic code on nonsense. Behind this somewhat uncle-like exterior is a tactical specialist. He possesses what is known as hydro-intelligence. While other primates shrink away from the water, the proboscis monkey is in his element, viewing it as a high-speed highway. He is a genius at assessing the currents of fierce rivers, analyzing pressure, predicting drift, and making incredible swims across open waters. This adaptability allows them to claim food sources that rivals can never reach. Their underwater navigation reaches a level of superior precision, helping conserve maximum energy when dealing with forest floods. Intelligence here is not about wielding a stick, but about knowing how to turn a perilous current into a survival escape route. The next chapter leads us to the vast plains of the African continent, where the sun scours every sliver of shaded hope. This is the territory of the baboon, a primate that is widely debated and remains a force to be reckoned with. The scientific name cynocephalus, meaning doghead, is no mistake by taxonomists. Look at that long, angular muzzle and those sharp, closely set eyes. They are designed to scan for even the slightest movement across the vast savanna. But what truly makes the top hunters think twice is hidden behind those lips. A formidable set of jaws with extremely long, sharp fangs, which in adult males are even more impressive than those of a lion. A perfect biological tool for protection and establishing a firm social order. Unlike their orangutan cousins who rarely leave the canopy, baboons are genuine masters of the ground. They move steadily on all fours, following a semi-terrestrial lifestyle. And here is a clever detail from nature. The seat pads, known as ischial callosities. These thick, hairless skin pads with striking colors are not just for show. They act like a portable armchair, allowing the baboon to sit comfortably on sharp rocks or stiff branches for hours without any discomfort. A practical adaptation in an environment where there is no room for vulnerability. A baboon troop can consist of more than 100 individuals, operating like a military unit with strict discipline and clear rankings. Here, family politics are every bit as complex as human society. Females inherit their status from their mothers and stay with the troop for life, forming the power structure, while males must use strength or diplomacy to rise. They are on the ball when it comes to numbers and logic. Baboons do more than just give precise alerts for different threats like lions or leopards. They can also perform basic math and reason through the social standing of their peers. They are opportunistic omnivores and, at times, the real deal when it comes to hunting. Individuals like Queen Tubu have proven that, when the timing is right, they can be unwavering hunters, tracking impala lambs with as much precision as a leopard. This sharpness is their ticket to remaining relevant across Africa. In a world full of master hunters, the one who possesses logical intellect and timely resolve is the one who stays ahead of the pack. It is a powerful testament that on the plains, the mind is often more formidable than fangs or claws. Leaving the scorching plains, we ascend the steep cliffs of the Ethiopian highlands, reaching elevations over 4,000 meters in the Simeon Mountains. In this place, the air is so thin that each breath becomes a struggle, and the wind whistles through the rock fissures like the voices of ancient spirits. This is a world secluded by mist and the biting cold, a place where typical primates would never dream of wandering. But for the Gelada, this is an ideal natural stronghold. Observe the one ruling the grasslands, a male with a mane as thick as a royal robe to withstand the frost. But the most striking feature is the vibrant red heart-shaped patch of skin right on the chest, a trait that earned them the nickname Bleeding Heart Monkey. In the world of the Gelada, the heart is not hidden inside the chest. It is displayed outwardly like a hormonal dashboard. This crimson hue flares up, becoming as deep as lifeblood when excitement reaches its peak or when the leader's position is questioned. It is a visual message that cannot be faked. Look at my chest and see exactly how much power I hold. Yet the true marvel of evolution is not found in that red patch, but hidden behind unusual lip movements. Geladas do more than just produce empty calls. They are truly carrying on a conversation. Their vocal system possesses a rhythm and grammatical structure more similar to human speech than any other primate. They utilize a strategy that biologists refer to as vocal grooming. Instead of spending hours picking insects and grooming by hand, Geladas use complex vocal ranges to maintain order within massive herds that can reach 1,200 individuals. The variations in their sounds are capable of encoding intricate information about social status and alliances. In the place where the clouds meet the mountain peaks, the one who masters the grammar is the one who rules the society. It is a clever linguistic survival tactic, proving that in this high-altitude court, those who can talk the talk possess a power as commanding as any claw or fang. Still on the African continent, but in the damp and heavy shadows of the Central African rainforest, the language of sound gives way to an explosion of visual color. Meet the mandrill. He possesses the most vibrant face on the planet, a haunting masterpiece of nature featuring striking stripes of brilliant red and deep blue. And take a look behind. Those colors are ironically mirrored on his backside. Don't laugh. In the dim light of the jungle, these are biological road signs, helping the troops stay together while moving through the thickest undergrowth. But this flamboyant appearance hides an incredible visual information processor deep within the brain. Mandrills do not live in small, scattered families. They gather in massive supertroops called hordes, with numbers reaching up to 800 individuals. Imagine having to accurately remember and distinguish the faces of 800 people in a crowded space. For the mandrill, this high-level data processing instinct is a walk in the park. They possess superior visual recognition, telling apart every facial feature, every mark, and every glance from hundreds of their peers. In such a vast and complex society, knowing exactly who is an ally, who is a rival, and who is planning a challenge is the key to maintaining order. Their brains possess specialized regions dedicated to decoding facial signals, with a precision equal to the most advanced human artificial intelligence systems. In this kingdom of colors, visual memory is what separates a powerful ruler from one cast into the shadows of being forgotten, a visual survival tactic that is both cunning and effective. Welcome to the New World. In this place, amidst the emerald labyrinths of the tropical rainforest, intelligence is more than just an evolutionary gift. It is a genuine laboratory of survival. The rulers of this realm have no need for massive size. They simply require the mind of a genius to stay ahead of the game. Meet the capuchin. Their name stems from the dark patch of fur on their head, reminiscent of the robes worn by Capuchin friars. Weighing a mere 1.5 to 4 kilograms, they are incredibly nimble machines within the dense forest canopies. The definitive feature that sets them apart from their cousins in Asia or Africa is the prehensile tail. It acts as a versatile fifth hand, allowing them to hang suspended while keeping their hands free to go the extra mile with the most intricate tasks nature presents. They are more than just acrobats. They are gifted chemists. Capuchins possess a sophisticated understanding of nature's medicinal properties. They know how to gather potent millipedes or crush oil-rich leaves to rub into their fur. This serves as a self-made shield to keep unwelcome guests at bay. This fusion of medicinal knowledge and survival instinct is where they truly stand head and shoulders above most other primates. But the height of ingenuity belongs to the tufted capuchin in South America. With two tufts of fur standing up like mischievous little horns, they are the only monkeys in the Americas to officially master the Stone Age. Witness a systematic engineering process. They don't just smash nuts blindly. First comes selection, finding a solid, flat stone to serve as an anvil. Next is the tool, a hard, heavy stone to act as a hammer. They are willing to transport these stones over long distances, overcoming every obstacle to deliver the decisive blow. An impact strong enough to crack the toughest shells, revealing the nutritional treasure inside. These scholars are so quick to learn and mimic complex skills that they have truly become the talk of the town in the eyes of the scientific community. In the world of the capuchin, intellect is not an abstract concept. It is a stone tool, a medicine, and the key to reining in a challenging green labyrinth. It is powerful proof that in nature's game, those who use their heads will always be the ones who get the last laugh. Heading north into Central America, the humid tropical rainforests serve as a massive incubator for bacteria and parasites. In this setting, a tiny scratch could lead to the final curtain. A contrasting phantom emerges from the thick canopy, the white-faced capuchin. Their snowy white face and shoulders stand in sharp contrast to a body as jet black as the night. They resemble monks in quiet reflection, but don't let that appearance deceive your eyes. They are the genuine specialists of pharmacology, the study of medicine in the natural world. They aren't just looking for calories, they are searching for medicinal properties. When troubled by insects or faced with bacteria, they engage the mind of a chemist. They meticulously gather plants containing potent antiseptic compounds. They even go as far as to catch millipedes with toxins to rub into their fur. This homemade bug repellent and cleanser is just as effective as modern synthetic products. But the pinnacle of their wisdom lies in sharing. They don't keep their secrets to themselves. They actively offer the remedy to their peers. A primitive community health system helps the troop resist invisible threats from microorganisms. This behavior maximizes the troop's immunity. In this emerald labyrinth, those who master chemistry are the ones who master living, a clever survival tactic where intellect allows them to beat the odds against the forest's most challenging pathogens. If white-faced capuchins are the pharmacists of the lowlands, then look up toward the highest canopies of Central and South America, where tangled vines form a complex and challenging transit network. Welcome to the domain of the spider monkey. The name tells the whole story: long, slender limbs and a prehensile tail that functions as a powerful fifth arm. It is more than just a balance beam. It is a perfect gripping tool, allowing them to perform acrobatics that defy the laws of physics. But this lean frame hides a deeply calculating mind. Residing in the tropical forest's breeding ground for pests, they have established a healthcare system of their own. When troubled by insects or microbes, they operate with the mind of a true chemist. They track down plants with specific chemical properties, crushing and rubbing them onto their fur. This is a highly conscious act of self-care, proving they really have a handle on their environment. And they are not selfish. That remedy is shared generously with family members. It is a clever way to strengthen family ties through practical medicine. The intelligence of the spider monkey goes even further than these remedies. With their large brains, they serve as the jungle's elite cartographers. In a vast emerald maze where food is always scattered and scarce, they construct incredibly detailed mental maps. They never wander aimlessly. Every path is calculated to shorten the distance, helping them save as much energy as possible. Their spatial memory ensures the troops' endurance even during the harshest dry seasons. In this quest for survival, the one with the best map is the one who truly holds the keys to the kingdom. But look down to the lower levels of the Amazon basin, where a tiny phantom is gliding quick as a flash. Welcome to the world of the squirrel monkey. At first glance, they are merely small creatures with a white face and a signature black mouth, appearing quite unassuming. But do not let that charming appearance deceive your eyes. Inside that small skull lies a processor of formidable power. They possess a brain-to-body mass ratio of 1 to 17, the highest figure in the entire primate kingdom. Why does such a tiny creature need such a massive brain? The answer lies in speed. In this dense world, nourishment never stays still to wait for you. This brain allows them to process visual and motor information at a peak level, turning them into insect hunters with absolute precision even while moving at high velocities. The squirrel monkey's neurons have a higher reflex frequency than any primate ever recorded, allowing them to make decisions in just a few milliseconds. In the demanding struggle for survival, when you lack the size to intimidate adversaries, use the processing speed of a supercomputer to master the game. A powerful testament that intellect is not found in absolute size, but in the efficiency of the biological algorithms within, proving these little guys are sharp as a tack. Welcome to Madagascar, what scientists call the 8th continent. 88 million years of isolation after splitting from India and Africa has turned this island into a biological lifeboat where time stands still and evolution follows the most imaginative paths. This is no mere island, it is a long-lost laboratory of creation. Look at Chingi de Bemaraha, a limestone labyrinth as sharp as a razor, carved by persistent erosion over millions of years. This is a forest made of stone, where a single stumble could be quite unpleasant, yet it serves as a playground for primates like the sifaka, as they glide swiftly to avoid those on the prowl. It is a vivid example of the brilliance of adaptation. When the surroundings get tough, you have to rise to the occasion and become sharper than the stones themselves. In the plant kingdom, these unusual giants hold the key to life. The baobab, a tree that locals believe was uprooted and planted upside down by the spirits. 6 of the world's 8 baobab species are found only here, serving as massive pillars that store water for the entire ecosystem. Next to it is the Ravinala, the traveler's tree with its massive fan-shaped leaves, a reservoir for rainwater that brings relief to those wandering the deep forest. 80% of the plants here are found nowhere else. If they fade from Madagascar, they are gone from the universe for good. Beneath the canopy, masters of disguise reign in every corner. Madagascar is home to more than half of the planet's chameleon species, from the majestic Parsons chameleon that looks like a small dragon to the tiny Bruchisia micra, which is barely the size of a fingertip. But the pinnacle of deception belongs to the leaf-tailed gecko. With the ability to mimic every vein of a withered leaf, it disappears into thin air right before the eyes of the most observant hunters. Even tiny creatures like the tenrec have abilities that seem to come from a science fiction movie. The streaked tenrec is the only mammal known to communicate by rubbing the quills on its back together to chirp like a cricket. It is a biological radar system for staying in touch within the heavy shadows of the jungle. Continue the journey south through Madagascar, where dry forests and scrubland embrace the parched terrain. Here, as the sun warms the arid air, intelligence is more than just a way to secure a meal. It is the method for keeping a stable social order without resorting to severe physical confrontation. Meet the true icon of this island, the ring-tailed lemur. Locals refer to them as spirits of the ancient woods due to their haunting calls and fox-like faces with glowing amber eyes watching from the shadows. Take a look at that tail. Over 2 feet long, featuring proud, alternating black and white rings. It acts as a perfect aerodynamic stabilizer, allowing for leaps reaching 30 feet between the branches. But in their world, physical brawn takes a back seat to female authority. Ring-tailed lemurs maintain a firm matriarchy. These warrior queens hold the reins of influence, leading with unwavering focus to call the shots in the social ranks. While the females manage family politics, the males engage in one of the most civil forms of dispute resolution in the natural world: stink fights. Rather than engaging in physical struggles, they use scent glands on their wrists to coat their tails, creating a unique chemical signature. This is a stink-off. They wave their scented tails toward opponents to settle their rank and social standing. The one with the most potent fragrance comes out on top without a single scratch. This tactic helps keep the troops' numbers high in a demanding climate where even a minor injury could lead to a permanent departure. In Madagascar, sometimes the most pungent individual is the one who truly rules the roost. It is a clever political strategy where social wisdom has triumphed over basic physical aggression, proving that these primates truly know what's what when it comes to survival. But if the ring-tailed lemur masters politics through scent, another relative turns survival into a form of performance art. Welcome to the spiny forest of the southwest, where the trees are draped in millions of needle-sharp thorns. In this place, a mistake doesn't just lead to failure, it leads to a very unfortunate outcome. With fur as white as cotton and a face of deep onyx, they appear like spirits of the ancient woods. But when they must descend to the earth, they become the most peculiar dancers on the planet. Because their limbs are crafted for leaping between trunks, they cannot walk like other primates. Instead, they engage in a sideways gallop on their hind legs, a truly mesmerizing ballet. Do not let that amusing dance deceive you. Within that small skull lies a processor for trajectories that is incredibly precise. To navigate through these thorny woods, the sifaka's mind must process pre-calculated trajectories in mere milliseconds. One leap in the wrong direction or an unstable landing on a jagged trunk, and one will certainly be in a tight spot. Their wisdom also shines in their ability to maintain hydromaps, detailed records of water sources. During the severe dry seasons of Madagascar, when life seems to wither under the sun, the sifaka still leads the troop to hidden pockets of moisture. Their spatial memory is on the money, matching the world's finest navigators. In the grand theater of nature, the one who can dance through the risks and recall the map of life is the one who ensures the legacy of their kind. If the forest had a soul, it would surely possess a singing voice. Welcome to the highest reaches of the tropical rainforests in eastern Madagascar. This is where the Indri reigns supreme. He is the largest lemur species currently on the planet. With his contrasting black and white coat, he looks like a giant teddy bear watching the world from above. But take a look behind. He has almost no tail at all. In a kingdom of acrobats, where perfect balance is key, this is a bold and unconventional design. But don't let that seemingly slow appearance deceive your eyes. The intelligence of the Indri isn't found in sharp teeth or stone tools. It lies in the theory of music. They are the only species on Earth, besides humans, capable of maintaining a perfect octave rhythm. These are not empty howls to keep rivals at bay. They perform sophisticated collective choruses to maintain their borders and strengthen their family bonds. The Indri's song possesses a grammatical structure and rhythm that strikes a chord with its uncanny resemblance to human music. Every note produced is a coded message, a declaration of presence within the great forest. In the grand symphony of life, the Indri is more than just a member. They are the gifted conductors of the wild, one final proof that intellect is not just for making it through the day, it can also blossom into art. Turn your gaze toward the Masuala Peninsula, where some of the most untouched stretches of Madagascar's primary rainforest remain. Amidst the deep green foliage, a blazing fire appears, defying all conventional rules of camouflage. The red-ruffed lemur. Their rusty red fur glows like a piece of molten metal, framed by a thick jet-black ruff around the face and a matching commanding tail. They look like aristocrats dressed in the most luxurious gala attire of the forest. But behind that flashy appearance are true strategists when it comes to continuing the lineage. Unlike most primates that spend the day carrying their young on their backs, red-ruffed lemurs are architects of high-altitude nurseries. They build intricate leaf nest systems, a hanging fortress among ancient branches to shield the next generation from those looking for a lucky break. Their social wisdom truly shines through a concept known as alloparenting, shared childcare. This is not merely instinct, but high-level social cooperation built on trust and exceptional social memory. The females of the troop establish a system of shared duty. They take turns keeping watch, providing care, and even nursing other infants in the group. A collective investment in the future of the entire bloodline. Their ability to recognize allies and manage shifts reaches incredible precision, minimizing uncertainties for the young while ensuring the mothers have the energy to search for nourishment. In the world of the red-ruffed lemur, unity is not a slogan, it is a survival algorithm. A testament that when individuals step up to the plate for the community, the entire species remains enduring against the tests of time. But every paradise requires a phantom to keep the wheels of survival in motion. Welcome to the greatest restless presence of the lemur kingdom, the fossa. He looks like an unfinished sketch between a cat and a dog, but in reality he inherits the unyielding spirit of his mongoose relatives. A long frame with rippling muscles beneath a reddish-brown coat, and a massive tail that acts as a gyroscopic balance beam on the flimsiest branches. Claws can retract like a quiet pursuer, ready to reveal themselves when the critical moment arrives. But what truly makes the fossa the ultimate master of the chase is his predatory intelligence. He is the only creature on the island with the speed and boldness to engage in pursuits using three-dimensional tactical movement. Take a look at those ankles. Thanks to his flexible ankle joints, he can rotate them completely to descend tree trunks head first, a skill that even the most talented primate acrobats would tip their hats to. While lemurs rest easy in a false sense of security among the highest branches, the fossa appears like a phantom descending from the heavens. He does not simply hunt by instinct. He hunts with absolute spatial awareness. His success rate comes from making stealthy approaches from blind spots that his targets never see coming. On this island of wild evolutionary paths, the fossa is the one who pens the final chapter for every story. A supreme ruler, an apex predator, where physical power and spatial intellect merge to create Madagascar's most perfect pursuit machine, truly placing him in a class of his own. We have journeyed together through the rawest depictions of brutal survival and the iron-fisted political hierarchies of the Chakma baboon. Which creature from today's episode forced you to see the wilderness through a different lens? Was it their gutsy tactical standoffs against predators, or the silent, invisible psychological pressures that weigh on every individual within the troop? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your understanding is the ultimate tribute to these wild animals. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to join me on our upcoming field expeditions, where we will continue to crack the most enigmatic codes of survival. And if you are hungry for more untamed stories, keep exploring with Win or Die, full episode, Deadliest Battles for Survival or Lion Attack, the Mapogo Battle for Survival.